So you just started training for the season, despite all the marketing dollars that we've invested, that we did the outreach, those magazine articles we wrote, the TikTok videos. You just decided that it's almost April. You see the buds coming up out of the ground, a little bit of warmer weather, daylight changing. And you say, you know what? I think I might actually put my sneakers on and go for a run. Maybe 2025 is going to happen after all. If you're about to do that, I'm here to tell you you've got two paths. One is fraught with disaster, the other, opportunity. Today, I'm going to talk to you about both. All right, Coach Patrick here from Endurance Nation, back with another weekly video. Every week, I sit down and talk to you, the endurance athlete, from my 20 plus years of racing and coaching, helping more than 20,000 athletes cross their finish lines, be it through multi-sport or single sport or whatever you want to call adventure racing and the craziness that people will do with their FKTs. If you don't know what that is, look it up. I'm not calling you something. It's the opportunity for you to really think a little bit about how to be more successful. Inside Endurance Nation, we're not so much worried about your total speed. Of course, fitness is important. I'm looking forward to your speed to excellence. And speed to excellence, a great deal of that is learning. Now, most people go out through trial and error. Our ancestors did all of that, inventing fire, the wheel, political systems. So let's not even go there. And when we think about what that means as an athlete, do you really want to spend this year just kind of rolling the dice and being like, I wonder if this works, and it doesn't, and saying, that's awesome. I planned for the marathon. It didn't work. I trained for 16 weeks. I totally messed it up. But next year, I'm going to sign up for another marathon. I'm going to try a different plan and see if it works. Keep that up. Maybe by the year 2030, you'll have a great marathon. Who wants to wait 5 more years to have a good marathon? Inside Endurance Nation, we are just as impatient as you are. People who take supplements or steroids to improve performance-wise, we do that here inside Endurance Nation for your brain. And we're trying to make you smarter, faster, so you can go out there and have a ton of fun and be really good at what you want to be good at. All right. So today I'm going to talk to the people who are laggards. We're going to go right out there and call them, you are a laggard, my friend. If you just woke up and your decision to train is influenced by the quantity of sunlight that hits your face in the morning when you wake up. We're all influenced, obviously, by the sun, the seasons, etc. But for some, they've been toiling away in their pain caves, doing hard work, getting ready for this moment. They're ready. They're like, I'm holding them back. Like, you got to wait another week. Just hold. But I'm running down the line and saying, hold. For others, they're literally just like a bear emerging from hibernation, saying, let's get after this thing. I think it's time. I've been hungry. I haven't done anything for 6 months. Let's get into it. So how do we make sure that even though the same race is on both of your calendars, let's say at the end of July, one of you has been doing lots of training and one of you has not? So for today, those of you who've not been doing all that training, how do we get back into it? Here's how you can do it. Number one, let's start with the things you should not do. You should not go out this weekend and rip a good, hard, or long workout. That's not the case at all. Just going big the first time you get back is a fast track to disaster. Your body has not adapted to the training. Your body's not ready for it. Your equipment, who knows what state it's in. You're going to look at it with sort of biased eyes because you're really like 80% focused on the outside and 20% focused on the mechanics. That's why you're here where you are, right? And so you're going to really put yourself into a bad spot. All right. So the number one thing we want to do is do not go hard and do not go big this weekend. All right. Because it's going to go crazy and you're going to put yourself in a really bad spot. Okay. What's something else you don't want to do? You don't want to just go out and ignore all of your nutritional needs. Your body is not adapted for training nutrition. It's the first thing to go. People will think about the volume of oxygen in their blood and be like, oh, I'm detraining and I'm feeling a little stiff or sore during a taper. That's one aspect, right? And the most visible or tangible aspect of detraining. What we don't really account for as endurance athletes is the detraining we have around fueling and fueling capacity. It's an actual trainable thing. I think just a few months ago, cycling magazines around the world and even triathlon magazines started talking about the importance of fueling and the quantity of fueling required to perform at a high level. And even though you may not be competing at the level of an Olympian, you are going to be training and racing at a level that is much higher where you are right now as your laggard sedentary self. I'm just going to keep adding adjectives onto there for you. So in order to get to that next level, you have to start with something. So if you don't have exercise nutrition in your pantry or anywhere nearby your exercise equipment, do you even remember where that exercise equipment is? You're going to want to make sure you have something, or at the very least, to plan your day, your training, your weekend around places that can give you some form of consistent calories so you can stop, pretend like it's for the nutrition, not because you can barely breathe, and then actually start fueling your body. So nutrition is going to be super important for you as you get back in this. So do not mess that up. Okay. Number 3. do not just go out and do the same routes and the same things you did last year. Everything is sort of changed, okay? And so the number one thing you can fall into is when you get back to your favorite 5-mile run route and it's a new year and you're super excited, you just go out and want to rip it on that 5K or 5-miler because you know it. That's like your home turf. That's like you invite your mortal enemies here to go to combat with you. We can't possibly do that right now because you're going to go right into that and say like, I remember. Like you don't remember what day it is. You don't remember like your third kid's name. You do have a name for your bike and you remember that. And you definitely know all your friends on Zwift and the last time you saw them. However, you definitely remember the last time you ran on this route, what your time was, right? Don't even look at your watch. No cheating. What time is it right now? You don't know, right? You have no idea, right? But you do know exactly your favorite route, what your best time is on that route. And when you go out there and train again, you're going to try and do that again, and it's going to crush you. So stay away from the normal route when you get out there and get back into your training. Pick something totally different. And our goal is to get out there and be active. Okay. So those are 3 things you shouldn't do. What's something you should do? The number one thing I really want you to do before you put on shoes or spandex or a helmet or anything else is to actually map out how much time you have between now and race day. Let's be real. For some people who started training in November and October with our out-season program, for those people, they've been training 16 weeks. They're in great fitness, right? For you, you've only got 16 weeks left to race. So we've got to get you from 0 to race ready in 16 weeks. That's a very different utilization of time otherwise. So quantify your time. You have to know what the time is, right? Okay, step number 2, you're going to divide your time up. You're going to have 25% of the time just getting back into training. 25%. So if we've got 16 weeks, we've got 4 weeks to get back into it. That's an important phase because it actually gives you permission to move slowly, intentionally, to determine, am my equipment set up? Is my fitness good? Is my nutrition good? Am I coming around? Is my body holding up? What's different this year about my lower back? Is it the same problem I had last year? Or I forgot about the problem with my lower back last year, but now this problem with my lower back is back and I've got to do something about it, whatever that is. Those first 4 weeks are really important for telltale signs and giving you some sense of your, not just directionality, but also the speed of that directionality for yourself, right? So if you're a vector, how fast is that vector moving? No, it's just pulling the right direction and it's got some amount of velocity to it and you can measure that and that will determine how you handle the next 12 weeks. The last 12 weeks are broken up 25% in terms of getting some volume and consistency back and 50% getting race ready. So really, if you've got 16 weeks, it's really 8 weeks of race prep. If you've got 10 weeks, it's really 5 weeks of race prep. And so while race prep and race training and those benchmark workouts that you remember, again, milestone workouts you remember from last year will be front of mind for you, but they're not important at all because you're not focusing on the actual re-entry work that you need to get into. And again, determining not just the directionality, but the velocity of which your body is adapting to this training and moving forward. Okay, super, super important. Okay. And then the third thing they actually want to do is either find friends or find a local race. We just have to get you into a race-like environment. 5Ks are great, 10K if you had to, or maybe a group ride as the group rides start to fire back up again. It will be humbling. It will be challenging, but it is also a really good social boost for you and accountability and energy that's going to help sustain you over this hump. Because this first 25%, I'm not going to lie to you, it's hard. People like to talk about race day and hitting the wall and what the end of race day looks like. But in reality, the beginning is the hardest, going from 0 to 1. And this happens every year. We all do it. You've just chosen to do it now when a healthy portion of your endurance friends are already doing it. And so you're going to be behind. So for some, that's motivational. I'm going to go, hunt people down like on a race. For others, it can be frustrating. And regardless, the choices that you made have led you here. And if you don't want to be here, the last thing I'll tell you, if you don't want to be here, do yourself a favor, take out your phone, set a reminder, get your calendar, make the marks, and just say, hey, next year in December or January or November or whenever you want to do it, let's start training. It doesn't have to be much. It could be consistency. You could leverage in existing workouts, whether it's at your gym or at your pool or some fitness facility, or if you don't have your own stuff set up at home. But even baseline fitness can help you get over the 25% that you need to get over now, sometimes even over the additional 25% of adding that volume and consistency. And you'd actually be able to focus on the race prep, doing good hard work for distance on a good nutrition plan. And then we're just kind of tightening bolts on the plane. And that's really the differential, right? The amount of time that people spend every year on perfecting their race fitness and craft is what really separates people. Because if you think about it, if you've got let's say you got a 20-week buildup to a race, you've got to get fit enough, you've got to do your volume, and now you say, now I'm going to get race prep. In an ideal world, you've got maybe 12 weeks of race prep, give or take. All right. So let's say you do 2 races a year. You'll have 24 weeks of race prep. Inside those 24 weeks, you'll have 2 race simulations, 2 challenge rides inside Endurance Station twice. So 4 and 4. We'll have 8 workouts, 8 key workouts, plus your 2 races is just 10 sessions in this entire year. That is you at speed, on plan, in nutrition, at your best. Okay. And all of that is only 10 times in a year. So you got like 10 times. It's like, hey, there's only 10 things you're doing this year that make a difference. Okay. If you go to church, 4 times a month, 48 times. This is 25% of that, right? If you like to go to Starbucks, you go to Starbucks every single day. That's 365 times in a year. We're talking just 10 times you get to do this. This is really meaningful. And so the more time we can spend in that window, the greater, because the more I have to shorten that 12-week window down to 8 or to 5, like we were just talking about, all of a sudden we're ejecting, throwing off the ballast of these key workouts because you're not ready for it. You're not gonna be able to do the work and you're not gonna be able to do it at speed. And instead we're just trying to get you back up to speed. And the differentiation between that is athletes who are getting those 10, if not 15 workouts in every year and a cycle, their learning and their acceleration over time gets much greater. So even if they may not have the fitness in the future, they have the skills and the knowledge, the personal expertise to be better. You ever get frustrated about your training partner who doesn't seem to train as much, but always seems to be faster than you on race day? How do they actually make it work? A large part of that is not just years of training and sort of good aerobic baseline functionality, good form, et cetera, just honed over time. It's also being really smart about what they can and cannot do, what the work they need to do to get to the place they need to be, and then how to execute on race day. That time is predicated on you getting started early. So just a little tip from me, Coach Patrick, to you, the laggard, the sluggish laggard at the back who's waking up right now in April, and thank God you found this video. Who knew the internet could actually be your friend today? And you go out there and say, you know what, next year, I'm going to set something. I'm going to put a note in the sand. I'm going to put a forcing function. I'm going to pick an early season race of some kind that is going to force me to start training just a little bit earlier, even a month earlier. If we're talking about a 4-month buildup, that's 20% more. I'll take it. I'll take 120%. That's better for me, better for you, better for the finish line, and better for future you as well. All right. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Coach Patrick signing off. Next time, I promise I'll be so much happier. But best of luck as you return to training. If you've got questions, comments, or feedback, please visit us over at endurancestation.us. There you can find all of our free training guides and resources to help you become a better, smarter athlete, from sweat testing guides to how to train with volume to nutrition, et cetera, and much, much more. And if you're really into it, sign up for those things and we'll actually send you a link. You can try and join the team. 30-day money back guarantee. Happy to work with you on your training plan and get you ready for a fantastic year. Thanks, everyone. Have a great week. I'll talk to you soon. See you.